Hi guys, welcome back to Howie's Musings. If this is your first time, please find and follow me on my social media handles and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are returning, I'm super grateful that you still find me worthy of being heard. I do not take you for granted. Thank you so much. So there's a saying in Hausa language that the egg yolk is sweeter than the egg white. This saying is used to describe the love grandparents have for their grandkids, meaning that a grandparent could possibly love their grandchildren even more than they love their own children. Now let's take time to see these images and etch them in our minds. Those images you saw were the last moments of an elderly woman in Kenya. Standing in front of her, wielding a machete, is her grandson shortly before he hacked her to death for supposedly being a witch. In order to empathize with someone, you need to put yourself or someone you love in their shoes. Now imagine being faced with your grandchild or anyone else for that matter who is convinced that you are a witch or wizard and as such do not deserve to live. Since January this year, the Advocacy for Alleged Witches, a movement initiated by Dr. Leo Igwe, has been working to fill in the gaps in activism against witchcraft allegations in Africa. And this is what prompted today's topic, the voice for alleged witches. In 2015, a little girl was burned to death in Plateau State by a 60-year-old Yakubu Vong. Plateau State Police spokesman at the time, Emmanuel Abu, said the police believed that Mr. Vong attacked the girl because she refused to admit to being a witch. Take all the time you need to imagine the horror the little girl must have experienced before taking her last breath. Then there's this one. Many of us are familiar with the story, but for the benefit of those who might not know, the child you see in this photo was in 2016 left to die in a forest by his own parents before a Danish woman on witchcraft rescue mission in Africa saved him. There are beautiful pictures of him online now. You can search for yourself so you can see how something that would have been a tragic story ended up being so beautiful because one woman chose to act. In May of this year also, there was the case of a woman who doused her niece in kerosene and set her ablaze for the same witchcraft allegation. I'm not here to tell stories today. If you know you can stomach it, please do a Google search of witchcraft persecutions in Africa and see for yourself the barbarism we are sweeping under the carpet, and keep in mind that the larger number of these cases do not even make it to social media. Although beliefs around witchcraft didn't start in Africa, the practice thrived in Europe in the 14th century when many accused confessed, often under torture, to a variety of wicked behaviors. This was the period witch hunt became common in the European continent, and most of the accused were executed by burning or hanging. With sound education that built critical thinking skills came the end of such unfounded and destructive practices. See where Europe is today for choosing enlightenment over superstition. My anger ever since I woke up to the Kenyan grandma story has been with everyone who believes in witchcraft, even if they don't kill the innocently accused, but their willingness to attribute whatever they don't understand to witchcraft continues to enable those who kill to act. It baffles me each time these stories trend and I see people standing with the victim and condemning the act against them, when the incident itself could have been prevented if we were civil enough to question the myths and superstitions we have inherited. I ask people honestly, apart from stories you have heard, can you state categorically if you have ever witnessed an act of witchcraft? Most of the time the answer is my mother said, my daddy told us, my grandma told us the story, baby, believe it or not, witchcraft exists. How can we be so insistent on holding on to fallacies when all we have to back them up are stories? Now, I understand some of us may have experienced things that we do not understand, things we do not have answers to because they are mysterious. I assure you there are logical explanations as to what it might be. The only problem is that you are looking in the wrong places, so you are bound to find wrong answers. In one of my rants after I read the Kenyan story, I likened people who believe and sell witchcraft stories to religious extremists who are also terrorist sympathizers. They subscribe to religious texts with distorted interpretations that justify everything terrorists do. It's just that they won't take up the arms. You might not be one of those setting these innocent children and elders ablaze, but your silence when we raise our voice to question witchcraft makes you complicit. If we all raise our voices to demystify witchcraft in Africa, the barbarism of murdering innocent people will stop. Someone once asked me, what's the need for you? What do you stand to gain by dabbling into spiritual matters? Well, what's the need for me is that people are harmed because of these beliefs. We know Santa Claus does not exist, but no one needs to shout at top their voices to demystify him because the belief in his existence does not harm anyone. You can say the same thing about tooth fairies. So really, I do not see why it is so hard for us to know where to draw the line between what is real in the 21st century and what we need to keep as symbolic to teach our children about the beliefs of their ancestors. It has been 6 months since I openly challenged witches to afflict me with an ailment that modern medicine cannot diagnose. After that, I took up the challenge in Niger State. Our host chickened out, and I took up another one in Benue. And the story is not different from the rest, but I'm still here. Apart from physical harm that superstitious beliefs cause, they also hinder development. Many people refuse to go invest in their hometowns because they believe that there are old women that will stifle their success, forgetting that anyone who actually has this kind of power could get hold of you even if you are not physically close to them. Please and please, we are making this appeal on behalf of all the innocent people who are potential victims, most of whom could be mentally unstable, that we all begin to reconsider our stance on the existence of witchcraft. If we are able to prove the non-existence of witchcraft, then we will see the end to the persecution of innocent people in Africa. Finally, I am making an appeal to security, public and political stakeholders to take drastic measures in concerted efforts towards ending this barbarism. Lawmakers at state and national level should also, as a matter of necessity, make a legislation that will criminalize witchcraft allegations, persecution, as well as inflicting physical harm to these innocently accused persons. This is certainly going to give a legal base for the security and judiciary to act accordingly. Thank you for listening to my musings. And this month, our 5K winner's name will pop up shortly. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for staying connected to Howie's Musings. Remember to follow me on my social media handles and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, remember that it is noble being the voice for the voiceless. Bye for now.